I determined to enter into the wicked order of the pirates, or robbers at sea. Hello everybody and welcome to Windrose Day 16. I have a boss to fight, but there are some loose ends that I want to tie up, mainly the Alexander notes. There are 7 of them total, so today I'm going on a bit of a voyage of discovery to find them, and it all starts with figuring out where they are in the first place. I already have 2 of them. One of them told us about Henry Every's story, who ended up being Longben on Tortuga, and the other ended up telling us the tale of a twisted tree monster somewhere in the swamp, which I also still haven't found. So today is going to be a nice, relaxing journey to find Alexander's notes. And of course, as I tend to do with Windrose, I'm over here typing up, okay, Alexander, who is he? I look him up on Google. He was an actual pirate. He wrote a book about the Buccaneers of America, focused on Henry Morgan. There is so much history in this book. It is available on the Internet Archive. I spent about an hour reading through it. It touches on the wild dogs in the area. It touches on Tortuga, how Tortuga was founded, the governor. It gets into the Cayman crocs that we see. There is just so much history there, and it was really a lot of fun to look into. But anyway, I have the Argonautica stocked up and ready to go for this voyage that I want to go on, and so I hope you enjoy my reading through of Alexander's notes, as well as the journey to figure out where they are and actually find these things. I hoped that by finding Alexander's notes, I would unravel a little bit more of the Priestess's story, since there seems to be such little information about her. As I explored more coastal islands, I ended up finding a different type of explorer, however. It only took me like 5 islands. What is this? Old grave? Wait a minute! An old grave lies before you. As you draw closer, a ringing fills your ears. The bullet wound in your chest, long since healed, suddenly flares with a dull pain. You hear the scrape of a shovel, an unfamiliar speech. A shadow from the past rises beside you. It's Juan de la Cosa again. So we went out in search of Alexander, but we have found Juan again. I found him on a swamp island. Juan de la Cosa in history is the guy who thought he made the map of the world. He was looking for the ends of the earth, basically. I'll pray that no one disturbs your rest, my friend. I admit I was fond of your ugly mug, but I have no desire to see it again. So I think his story is that he's dug graves for his crewmates that have passed. Moving on without you will be hard, especially if the dead don't stop hounding us. We'll press on with the expedition. If Columbus is right and the local priestess can help against Jones, I'll find her, even if I have to dig her out of hell. Your death will not be in vain. And this is exactly what I wanted. I wanted more information on the priestess, right? She's the next boss I have to go up against, and I feel like there's still a lot of information missing regarding like what her deal is, where she came from, what her origins are. So this is really cool. So Columbus thought that the local priestess could help against Davy Jones. Suddenly, your vision clears, the ghost is gone, and you hastily write down the words you heard before they fade from memory. All that remains is a scrapped inscription. Esteban Vargas, a loyal friend and master navigator, his eyes were always on the stars and not across the mortal earth. Died of cadaveric poisoning. Oh no. Alright, there should be somewhere I can dig here. Probably on the mound that I'm standing on, so let's try this. It is nighttime. Hopefully nothing creepier than an explorer's ghost pops out of here. So this is just the crusher weapon. And we got 25 experience points for that. Okay, so this was not Alexander. Wow, look at how nice the ship looks, by the way, in this light. That looks so pretty. I love this. Okay, anyway, so that was not Alexander. I've come across wild pigs, zombies, all kinds of explorers' ghosts, but we still have no trail of Alexander. The timeline of Juan de la Cosa's story was particularly interesting to me because it took place in the 15th century and our Windrose journey takes place in the 18th. So there was a whole storyline going on with Davy Jones and the undead bothering live pirates and explorers back in the times of Columbus, whereas Blackbeard is our Davy Jones equivalent bothering us with his undead. I wondered what ties might connect the two stories. I see a tent. Have we found him? Have we found one of Alexander's camps? Relative cost, homeward journey. All right, it looks like we might have found one of Alexander's notes. Okay, here we go. It looks like this one's going to be about Thomas Richards. After spending the night in one of the caves, I nearly ran into the men of Thomas Richards. I have no desire to meet the man himself. I once heard a tale from an innkeeper on Tortuga about a quick-witted Spanish woman who managed to fend off Richard's cutthroats. I wonder if that's Marita, Long Ben's woman. At the time, she was serving as first mate aboard a merchant vessel bound for the West Indies, its hold packed with outrageously expensive Spanish wine. That does sound like Marita. As they neared Hispaniola, a pirate ship bore down on them. The captain prepared to surrender, but the crew refused. Richards was known for leaving no survivors. That was when the Spaniard proposed breaking the wine bottles and scattering the shards across the deck so the pirates would slash their feet the moment they boarded. Said and done, the crew barely had time to spread the glass and hide in the cabin before the first cutthroats leapt aboard, and immediately howled in pain. Their screams were answered by precise gunshots fired through a small window in the cabin door. In the end, Richard sailed off empty-handed. The crew celebrated their victory, but the captain fumed. He cursed the Spaniard for weeks and eventually put her ashore at the nearest port without pay. After all, thanks to her, he had lost his entire precious cargo. The innkeeper claimed she wasn't troubled by this in the slightest. Later, she acquired a ship of her own and keeps a few crates of fine wine in the hold, just in case. Best for me to put some distance between myself and these caves while I still can. As always, I'll bury the excess gear beneath a tree marked with a red cloth, just in case. From the diary of Alexander Exquemelin, traveler. Very cool. So, we had a little bit of the story about Henry Every or Long Ben in Tortuga, and now it seems like maybe we're talking about Marita here, unless there is another woman pirate of note that maybe he's referencing. I know about Anne Bonny and, who was the other one? Her name escapes me at the moment, but anyway, here's the tree. Let's see where we need to dig. And was her name Mary? Mary something? I'm also really curious what's going to be in this chest, if I can find it. Is it here? Got it. Nice. Madeira, of course. So we finally have more rum so I can make more grog. I need to go take on some more of Blackbeard's pirate camp so that I can find some more rum and make some more grog. But anyway, that is one of Alexander's camps down. Now we have to go and find the others. I was hoping for more information about the Priestess, but instead he's told us a little bit about Thomas Richards and the story of Marita and Long Ben over in Tortuga. I pushed on, taking on a few low-level Blackbeard ships in the process, and also found a moment of comedy before heading towards my next island in search of Alexander's notes. Oh my gosh, look at that. It was too shallow for it to sink fully, so its flag is just it's just hanging there in the breeze. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Alright, this island has a patch of unexplored land that I have not discovered yet. It's right next to the island where I just was. We'll see. Perhaps if I get lucky here. Been island hopping for a while today, I will say. Oh, I see a camp. Is it an Alexander camp? Is it a trail of Alexander we found? I think it is. Alright, let's see what we get in this one. Let's see what lore we get to come with this little camp. Oh, this is going to be a long one. I saw Horn of Gold mentioned. Okay, here we go. In all my misadventures on these lost islands, I haven't seen a single ship of the Brethren of the Coast, only their wrecks, washed ashore by the sea. Blackbeard's pirates, on the other hand, are everywhere. So this is going to be in reference to Hornigold's quest to rescue his crew members. Remember, we did this in a past episode. In the old days, the head of the Brethren, Benjamin Hornigold, would have dealt with Teach easily, but these are hard times for him. His crew loved the story about him robbing the Spanish galleon. Back when he was a young pirate, Hornigold had his sloop fly the Spanish flag, posing as a merchant to avoid suspicion. After all, what Spaniard would imagine that some puny sloop would dare attack a galleon? Pure madness. And of course, the sloop he's talking about is the Ranger, which was his 30-gun sloop. But for Hornigold, it was a matter of honor. The galleon's captain had been ordered by the king himself to rid the pirates of Tortuga. Absorbed in the card game, the Spanish captain paid no heed to the reports of an approaching ship and didn't post a watch. That was exactly what Hornigold was counting on. When he struck with his men, the Spaniards panicked and offered no resistance. Hornigold walked away with a fine haul, and the Spanish captain's entire winnings, for by fate's irony the man had been lucky at cards that day. Along with the winnings, Benjamin took his splendid, wide-brimmed hat, remarking that it alone had been worth the boarding. Which I think is hilarious, because if you talk to the Benjamin Hornigold NPC, he always says something about his hats needing more attention, so maybe this is a reference to that. Thus, Hornigold became one of the West Indies' most famous captains, and later, the leader of the Brethren of the Coast. I found a few useful trinkets in the wreckage. Pity it wasn't the hat. I could have used it, but I'll have to travel light from here on. I'll bury the chest again beneath a tree marked with a strip of red cloth. Perhaps I'll come back for it someday. Signed, Alexander. I wonder where Alexander is now. Where is he now? Okay, now we're gonna have to find this tree in the dark. Let's see. I see my ship off in the distance. I do not see... here it is. Alright, I'm gonna try digging here. Whoops. That is not how you use a shovel. Okay, let's see. Looking for the glittering symbol. Or the glittering indicators. I haven't seen any yet. Here it is, I think. Yeah, here it is. Okay. Gold vase of the chief and elixir of cruelty. Very nice. Thank you very much, Alexander. Okay, on to the next one. It was interesting to hear about Hornigold and his brethren of the coast, but Alexander's most recent note did not answer any questions about the priestess or my new concerns about Davy Jones' timeline. I pushed on to the foothills, hoping to find more information on just those two topics. I have a feeling that most of these camps all actually spawn on the edge of biomes, so like in a shoreline rather than in the actual foothills. And I also have a feeling that these camps are going to be in islands that I've been on before that I just haven't fully like cleared the fog of war, so to speak. So anyway, we're going to check this out, see if this foothills island has one of Alexander's camps. Also makes me wonder what the subject... Oh. Like I say, makes me wonder what the subject of Alexander's next camp is going to be. I guess we're about to find out. Well, that was lucky. Jeez. I've been sailing around for like 3 hours and I've only found 3 of these camps now. Like, it's been a long day. All right. Devil always gets his due. I wonder if this is going to be about hands since we are now in the foothills. Okay, ready? The drowned prowled near my hideout last night. Their bloated carcasses blundered through the thick brush, leaving wet trails behind them and the reek of decay. Someone must have truly angered Davy Jones for him to open his locker and let the dead wander the earth. I've read that sailors once swore by Neptune's name, and only a couple of centuries ago began whispering the name of Davy Jones, the sea devil from hell. That's interesting. Sailors once swore by Neptune's name, so obviously that would be in mythologies seen near the Mediterranean area. Roman, right? No one knows where the legends of him began, but once I heard an old innkeeper tell a story passed down from one of his ancestors. That man captained a Spanish carrack and his ship was caught in a terrible storm. Sky traded places with sea, lightning flashed without cease, and the captain begged every sea spirit and demon he could name, anything to reach harbor alive. This reminds me of like praying to Davy Jones for a blunderbuss. Maybe I shouldn't anymore. Maybe I'll end up cursed. Then a richly dressed stranger appeared in his cabin and offered a bargain. For 3 years the captain would sail the seas without misfortune, and exactly 3 years hence Davy Jones would come for him to take him into service. The captain agreed. The sea grew calm, the thunder clouds broke, a fair wind rose. Windrose, that's cute. And the stranger vanished as though he had never been there at all. For the next 3 years, fortune favored the captain. Neither storms, nor enemy guns, nor even sickness threatened him or his crew. He grew rich, he married, and then the debt came due. Very Pirates of the Caribbean story-esque, obviously. He dreaded that day. He was content with his life and had no desire to serve the devil. But one evening at sunset, the same stranger knocked at the door of his new home. The captain let him in and laid out a lavish supper in thanks for the luck he'd been granted. One last taste of human food, he thought, before a long, long service. The devil agreed. Dish followed dish, the wine cups stayed full, and time seemed to stop at midnight, until a rooster crowed. The devil sprang up, his features twisting with rage. He understood at once he'd been tricked. The captain's cunning wife had been turning the clock back again and again, hoping that at dawn Davy Jones would be forced to depart and leave her husband in peace. And so he did. The devil dissolved into the first light of morning. The captain never went to sea again, and forbade his children to go near it, yet his ship later sailed under a new master, and vanished with all hands. Davy Jones took them for his own. The innkeeper ended the tale with this: that crew still roams the seas, restless, hunting their traitor captain. So don't try to cheat Davy Jones. He always comes back to collect what he's owed. I sat awake in my shelter the whole night, listening to every rustle, and when the first rays touched the sky, I left my things beneath the tree, marked with a red cloth, and fled. This is all so interesting to me. I don't think that Davy Jones is in the game right now, or some ghost ship of Jones. Speaking of ship, what is that guy doing? Better be careful, he's going to get someone hurt out there. He's going to crash right into the shore. Have you guys noticed that when the enemy NPC ships get really close to the shore, they just zoom it? Anyway, I need to find this tree with the red ribbon. But yeah, so I don't think we have a representation beyond like the sea of Davy Jones in the game, but I think it would be pretty crazy if one day we got to confront him and maybe got to see his ship that he took for his own. Where is this tree with the red ribbon? It's usually not that hard to find. I swear, it has to be here somewhere. It was right behind me. I'm pretty sure I was focused on that ship that I thought was about to crash into shore. Alright, let's see if we can find this chest and see what's in it. See if maybe what's in the chest gives us any clues as to where the Davy Jones storyline is going to go. I say that because when we opened the chest that had to do with Marita and all of the rum and things, it had rum in it. And Marita is with the smugglers, and their quest line was about smuggling booze. So it's kind of like a cute little tip off to that. But I don't know if we'll see such a thing once we dig this up, if I can ever find it. Ah, here it is. It was closer to the tree than I imagined. Alright, what's in it? A luxurious bed decoration and a great healing potion. I'm not sure that really gives us any hints as to the Davy Jones storyline that we might see in the game. But anyway, on to the next one. I just gotta learn this recipe. Still no news of the Priestess either. Dang. I was hoping for a little more insight on her, but I'm gonna leave my moat and head back to the Argonautica so we can continue this epic tale. the foothills were a particularly tricky place to track down Alexander, I headed inland, ignoring my previous mention of sticking to the shoreline to my own peril. Eventually, I did wander into the next of Alexander's camps. Okay, I don't think it's on this island. I think I've gone all over it. Oh no, wait, I still have a little bit left to do here. I doubt it's here though. I'm just gonna call the Argonautica and get her ready to go. Just bop in here, probably find some pigs. Maybe a dodo or two. Finally. Oh my gosh. I have been to like all of the foothills islands. This might be the last of the foothills islands that I visited. This is like the last bubble of unexplored land on the last foothills island. I thought I was going to be headed to the swamp. Okay, well actually, after this one, there will be one more left, so I think I am going to have to go to the swamp. Which means I'm going to have to explore the swamp a little bit to find the final Alexander camp. Okay, anyway, let's get this show on the road. My gosh, I've had like 3 cups of coffee, some snacks, some chocolate, basilica hands. So I wonder if this is about the boss chamber of Israel hands, maybe. Still no news about the priestess, though, which is kind of unfortunate. Maybe the swamp one will have something else about the priestess. Pirates are searching the ruins for something. I hid among the rocks to listen in and caught the name Israel Hands. Nearly gave myself away. Plenty of rumors circulate about him on Tortuga. They say Hands was born into a large merchant family in Bristol. The elder brothers inherited the business, while he, as in a fairy tale, was left with nothing but a cat. And, as if that weren't enough, his father was said to hit the bottle almost every night, beating both his wife and his youngest son for good measure. One evening, after the old man once again had one too many, misfortune struck. He tumbled down the stairs and smashed his head, at least 12 times. Took a few ribs with it, too. Must have been a very long staircase. After that, Hands decided to take fate into his own hands, and ran off to see the fabled New World. In the harbor, he signed on with a small privateer vessel, where he met Edward Teach. Later, without much thought, Hands followed him into the service of Benjamin Hornigold, back when Hornigold was still a pirate himself. I covered this in one of my past videos. Ben actually used to command Edward Teach before Edward became more notoriously known as Blackbeard and his own pirate captain self. Anyway. They say it was under Hornigold that Hands earned the nickname Basilica. I didn't know this. Interesting. Whether for a fondness for churches or for nuns, I couldn't say. I don't know what Hans's men are looking for here, but I'd best put some distance between us. Even wolves are safer company. As usual, I'll have to stash my excess belongings beneath a fallen log. Oh, this is new. Beneath a fallen log marked with a red cloth. Okay, so instead of a tree, we get a log this time. Basilica Hands. That's very interesting. All right, fallen log. Is this the said log? I don't see a red cloth on it. It's definitely a stump though. Let's see here. Yeah, so Basilica Hands. I'm gonna have to look that up. Very curious about that. Where is this? Oh, okay, so it is a tree. It said stump, so I was looking for an actual stump on the ground. But anyway, maybe I'll get luckier. Whoops. This time with where I choose to dig. I have to remember that it's closer to the tree than I imagined it was last time. Oh, is it here? I swear I just saw something glistening. There it is. Alright. See if there's any clues in this chest. Or maybe a blunderbuss? Elegant bed. And a ton of coffee beans. That's interesting. Man, these chests from the trees are really wanting to get me a nicer bed that my NPCs can all steal back at my base. Alright, it looks like I have just one more to go, and I highly doubt it's on a foothills island, so this looks like I need to head to the swamp and check out islands maybe I haven't explored yet to see if I can find Alexander's final note. And I'm hoping, really hoping, that that is going to have some information about the Priestess, because I'm hungry for Priestess lore. It seems there's a lot of information about Israel Hands out there historically. There's even information about Thomas Richards out there. He was an actual lieutenant of Blackbeard. But the Priestess is fictional, I think. So there's probably nothing online about her that I can dig into. So it must be left up to Windrose to do that for me. Okay, so anyway, onwards to the swamp we go. Okay, so the plan is that I want to check the islands that I've already landed on before, so I have fully explored this one, but I only have like half of this island uncovered, so I'm gonna head over to this one. If all else fails there, I'll head up north and look up here in this corner, and if all else fails there, I'm going to head to the Forgotten Relics, where I'm supposed to fight the boss, I think, so I'm hoping one of these two islands will have what I need. I don't think the camp is going to be on the eastern side of this island because I've uncovered all that, but there's a chance it's around the other side, as long as I don't get waylaid by some of Blackbeard's fleets along the way. So fingers crossed, we're about to discover some juicy info about the Priestess. The story of the Priestess that I knew was a sad one. All I knew based on a quest in the past episode is that there was a day of sorrow where her people of the mountain city began to die, and it had to do with the Lord of the Dead and the blessings or curses that he could put upon that small civilization, that small tribe. So over time, her people began to die, whereas she continued to live. The quest mentioned that she lived for 144 winters, which is quite a long time for a mere mortal. And as I found out, Alexander's final note did not help with the rest of the Priestess's story. Left me scratching my head, actually. And I guess I should mention, I have the immersive exploration turned on, which means that icons don't show up until I'm like right on top of them. So yes, it does make exploration a little more watchful, a little more, you know, you really gotta keep your eyes peeled for everything rather than just, oh, I see the red tree, the red ribbon tree. So the camp must be here. We did it. Oh, I thought I was gonna have to sail to another island. Okay, here we go. The final one. Hold on, my inventory's full. I picked up some eggs. I don't need those. Okay, here we go. Lost boots. Lost boots. Let me go stand on the shore to read this one, because there's dodos right behind me, and then I'll come back and dig up that chest. But anyway, it's in my curios. Okay, here we go. Fingers crossed for Priestess information. After reading that one note about Davy Jones, I'm not about to pray to Davy Jones again because who knows what that would get me into. But anyway, it began with a wolf latching onto my poor boot and tearing it straight off my foot. At least I managed to grab my sack and bolt before that fanged maw snapped shut on my calf. The pack was far more interested in the smell of goat meat sizzling over the fire than in my rapidly retreating carcass, so I made it to the ruins and waited out night under a roof, accompanied only by the disgruntled complaints of my empty stomach. So he must still be on a foothills island when he's writing this note, because he's talking about the wolves and goats, right? But no sooner had I, hungry and short on sleep, stepped beyond the ruins to gather ripe corn than an enormous goat set upon me. The wretched beast chased me across the entire field without pause, lunging again and again, intent on goring me. I lost my second boot on the run, and without looking, plunged through the floor of yet another ruin. Hey, I've done that. The floors of some of the ruins fall loose, and then you're like, how did I get down here in this pile of undead creatures trying to eat me? Anyway, only then did the goat finally lose interest, parting with a triumphant cry as if the victory were its own. My beloved boots are a bitter loss. I paid the buccaneers a whole handful of good, full-weight piastres for them. While hauling myself out of the rubble, I shredded my hands and feet on thorns. They say crocodile leather makes fine boots, but with my luck, I've no business hunting crocodiles. Naturally, I didn't go back for my things, though I did manage, out of habit, to stash a few items beneath the tree marked with a red cloth. That wasn't what I was thinking it would be. Alright, let's go dig this up. So it looks like this priestess fight is gonna be... I'm gonna be on my own lore-wise with this priestess fight. Where's my shovel? There it is. The tree was over here. So we didn't really get more information about anything, really, from that one. Oh my gosh! Ah! Dodge. Okay. Time to use pig against pig. I don't even have any food. Truffle, can you please get in here so I can eat some food? Oh my gosh, that scared me so much. And Truffle is already down. Holy cow. Dodge. Okay. This is just crazy. How did I miss that the first time? Shoot. Oh, this is so bad. Was not prepared. And now the pig is running away. What is going on? Hello? There we go. Okay. Oh, shoot. Alright. Oh! I didn't dodge that one. Oh, this is so fun. Okay. There we go. Wow, okay. Let me make sure that there wasn't like anything special I needed to pick up from that. Just a bunch of rough hide. Well, that was a little bit of a surprise, huh? I was so distracted. Alright. We gotta dig up this tree. I already see it glimmering. Alright, any hints? 5 master combat repair kits and 3 whiskey. Okay. So that was that. Honestly, a little bit anticlimactic. Because we originally found so much information out about the game regarding Henry Every and also the possible swamp creature, I thought that maybe we would find out a little bit more extra info from Alexander, but instead we just got a story about some lost boots. I wonder if there's like some hidden lore there that I'm missing or something. Let me read through Alexander's original first 2 notes for those of you who didn't see the episodes regarding those. This is Traveler Note 1 from Alexander about Henry Every. Came across a smuggler's cache yesterday, found a pinch of gunpowder and a bottle of rum. If their other hideouts are as bare, they must be in bad shape. Rumor has it smuggling on Tortuga is run by Henry Every. Probably nonsense. His fancy hasn't put to sea in 20 years, though once they told legends about him. One of them says Henry took an Indian ship whose holds were bursting with treasure. With the first broadside, the lucky pirate shot away the mainmast and went in to board. Mr. Every fought at the fore and crossed blades with the Indian captain. The ship's true captain was hiding in the hold like a coward. Henry had keel-hauled. The ship's true captain was hiding in the hold like a coward. Henry had him keel-hauled, but ordered the princess and her escort left untouched. After that, Henry Every vanished with the riches. No one saw the princess again either. Some said she threw herself into the sea, others that she married a fortunate corsair. Whether Henry Every truly built a smuggling network on Tortuga, I couldn't say. But whoever did, my thanks. I waited out the rain and the cache and moved on. I'll bury the excess gear nearby beneath a tree marked with a red flag. Signed, Alexander. So Henry Every turned out to be Long Ben on Tortuga. He did build a smuggling network there and is also with Marita, who runs the smuggling ring. Okay, and then the other note that I found off of this video and on a different episode was This is about the swamp monster that I'm hoping I will find in the next episode. I've seen enough madmen in my time to say this. The man who told me his tale was no lunatic. Barefoot and dressed in filthy rags, a beggar was pleading for alms by the inn door. Muttering nonsense under his breath, I asked the barmaid for a bottle of rum and 2 cups, filled one, and offered it to him. With trembling hands, he tossed it back like water and asked for more. I poured again and listened. There were 10 of them, those who dared hunt treasure among ancient graves in the swamps. The rest were frightened by talk of a curse, and they were right to be. 9 stayed there forever. They truly did find gold in the ruins. Rejoicing like children, they spent the day hauling gemstones from stone chests until sundown. They decided to camp in the swamps for the night. And in the night, the trees began to move. From the mire rose a great mass of earth and knotted roots. Human limbs dangled from within it. With a single sweep of its wooden arm, it crushed 2 at once. 3 more fled in terror straight into the bog. The remaining 5 ran for the shore and stopped only when the crashing behind them fell silent. At that very moment, hundreds of sharp wooden spikes burst from the ground and punched through their bodies. Only one man tore his wounded arm free of that deadly grip. He ran and ran until he collapsed on the sand from exhaustion. Tonight, I'll sleep under the roof of these ancient ruins. Let my things remain outside, safer in a chest beneath a tree marked with a red cloth. I didn't take the dead men's treasure, so I dare hope the guardians of this place won't touch me, assuming they aren't merely the invention of a sick mind. So there you have it. You have now read or heard of all of Alexander's notes. So those were all of Alexander's notes. I think that was a really cool little side quest to go on as you make your way through the game. And speaking of making my way through the game, I'm going to be picking up a blunderbuss from anywhere that I can find one. Even through all of my looting today, I still didn't find a blunderbuss on any of the islands I visited, through any of the viewpoints that I cleared. So that's gonna have to be something that I do before I do take on the boss, because as I said, I think it's gonna complete my setup. I'm a full agility build. I've got the saber, I've got the Soul Eater greatsword, and so now I need that blunderbuss. So that was my epic journey to not only find more information out about the Priestess, which I didn't quite do, but to also find the trail of a true and real pirate writer, Alexander Exquemelin, who did write the real book, The Buccaneers of America, that you can read on Internet Archive for free. As I said, I read it for like an hour and found out so many cool things that are interesting and actually kind of shocked me. Like, Alexander was sold twice on Tortuga. Like, to cruise. He was bought and sold and paid for and like lived a really, really harsh life as a pirate near and around Tortuga and Hispaniola. But yeah, if you are interested at all in this pirate history and lore, and maybe looking at some of the source material that inspired a little bit of Windrose, I think you should probably check that out. Also really cool that the developers included him and made his part in the story writing, because that is what he did in the real world. So I really appreciate all of the extra care Kraken Express has put into the lore and the breadcrumb trail here in Windrose. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my epic tale here on the Argonautica. That is it for me today, guys. I hope you are enjoying your games, particularly if you are sailing the 7 seas in Windrose like me. I will see you all in the next video.